evening, Pittsburgh sports fans, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. And good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Mac. Good evening, John. Good evening, Trace. How we doing out there?
Gentlemen?
Not all at once.
Yeah, I just, I have no answer.
Pretty gloomy day in the Berg, I must say.
This would turn into a non-sports show if I answered at length.
I think the way that the day went with the rain and it wasn't that great out and whatnot, that kind of depicts the mood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Sunday was going to tell you how the week was going to be, I'd say it's going to be a pretty dismal week. I don't know. We've got Turkey Day coming up. Got a lot of football, which I'll be feeding my face and indulging in the football. That's for sure. Got a lot to get into tonight, gentlemen. Obviously, the fallout from the 31-28 loss to Chicago. Where do we begin with this? I mean, my God, it's just it's getting to be a familiar thing around here. It seems to be. There's a lot to unpack. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Bills. Coming in here, and they're not actually doing too well. So I don't know. We'll get into that. Also, I want to pick apart the Mike Tomlin press conference today. I know there was a lot said and a lot of head scratchers from the little bits and excerpts that I heard of it. Also talk some Pittsburgh Penguin news. They're kind of in a little bit of a skid too. Got some issues there. Got some guys maybe coming back from injury. Guys getting put on, the disabled list or IR or whatever you want to call it. And then I want to get into Pitt. Big win this weekend against Georgia Tech. I mean, I was a little bit surprised. They almost kind of scared me there for a little while. But I want to get into that, and then looking ahead to Miami. And then Pitt basketball. Guys, I really want to talk about this Quinnipiac loss. I mean, this is absolutely terrible. And then I want to get your take on Jeff Capel. I tell you what, I've defended this guy over the years, and I no longer defend this guy. He is the problem, and I don't think he should make it. I don't think he should make it to the end of the season. I don't. This is just this loss was terrible. This loss on Sunday was terrible. There's no excuse to lose to a team like that. Want to get into that. Also, John, I know you were down there at Tulsa with the USL Riverhounds winning the USL championship. We've got to finally another championship back in Pittsburgh, guys. What do you? I mean, it was just great. I want to. You were firsthand down there. I want to get what you. I want to get. I'm sure you have some things to tell, some stories and things like that, and just what you observed.
I will only offer up what I know unless Mac gives me his insight first.
I could do this.
All right, there we go. See, I knew I could count on you.
The soccer ball.
Tracy, I don't know, but you, Mac.
The soccer ball is round, and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds won. Right, Mac?
He wouldn't be wrong. That would be insight.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to. It's funny you say, John. I wanted to. You may have known this. I don't know if Matt, talked to you down there about this, but I saw that they had those shirts coming out with the, and apparently they didn't give them a stage. They didn't give them, confetti. There wasn't like a celebration, and apparently there's.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to make some friends at the USL office while all of this was going on, and Augie Williams came out on X yesterday and was making comments about it. We can get into it in the segment, but yeah, I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, and I want to tell you something. It kind of struck a chord up high because I was listening to Winalda Talks Football yesterday on Sirius XM, and believe it or not, Eric Winalda and Jason Davis brought it up. So there you have it. It made national news. But without further ado, gentlemen, let's get into this loss. You know, I'm sick and tired of hearing some of these fans make the comment that, hey, if Aaron Rodgers would have been in there, they would have won this game. Would you please can we just stop? Can we just stop with this? I'm going to say this. Look at their numbers. Look at both of their numbers, right? Look at the little, body of work that Mason Rudolph has. Look at the bigger body of work that Aaron Rodgers has. Guys, it's practically the same, okay? They are being handcuffed, I believe, by this offensive coordinator, by this offensive game plan. I'm so sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, Rodgers would have been." He was hurt, okay? I can guarantee you, he wanted to play. He would have made every effort to be out there. But I guarantee he probably woke up Saturday and was like, you know what? This wrist is bad. How am I gonna operate under center?
Well, it's not so bad that he's talking about him probably starting on Sunday. That could be a smokescreen. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
I heard all of it yesterday, and I basically said, look, it's all speculation, but the reality of it is he didn't dress. Right, he couldn't play. The doctors are under as much scrutiny now than ever before. Everybody's under scrutiny in the NFL.
Sure.
They weren't signing off on this injury for him to be dressed. I mean, he couldn't play. So
Right.
It's nonsense to suggest otherwise, and it's all speculation. He couldn't play. He didn't play. They lost.
Yeah. What'd you think of the job of Mason Rudolph? I mean, he threw an interception on the first pass of the game. Not a good way to start off a game, I may add. Lost the fumble on a strip sack, which later the Bears converted. I thought overall, the vertical passing attack was just completely ineffective. The Bears had good defensive adjustments. And I mean, I don't know. I thought as the game went on, the passing game become more minimized, and I'll tell you another thing too. Some inconsistency in the running, especially in the second half. They ran for 125 yards in the first half, but after halftime only 61 yards. I thought the defense was god awful. I thought, especially late in the game. Not so much the entire game, but late in the game, there was a defensive lapse. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Trace, put your 2 cents into it.
The inconsistency is just ridiculous. There's no consistency on either side of the ball. I thought Mason played an average game. His decision making was way too slow. He underthrew the receivers downfield multiple times. He threw behind guys, held the ball too long to get a strip sack. Didn't pick up that the formation was wrong at the end of the game. Right on that third down, Aaron Rodgers caught it on the sideline. Right,
exactly. Yeah, even Aaron Rodgers caught it.
I mean, all that is on a so-called professional quarterback that was supposed to be a starter. And I thought you said last week there was a huge amount of people coming out saying, why is he not the starter? Well, this might be why. He's average at this point.
Yeah.
What say you?
John, go ahead and tackle this, buddy. I know you got some. We didn't have a post-game show, so here's the late post-game show.
For what? For the Steelers? I mean, look, again, this comes down to that play where they were 3rd and 4 with just over 2 minutes to go, and they line up in a formation that was illegal, and Tomlin and his staff don't catch this, right? I mean, look, you can blame Mason partially, you can blame the receivers partially, but it comes down to the guys up in the booth. Upstairs, right? The coordinators, the guys that are upstairs looking at things from 100 yards up. Oh, gee, shouldn't a receiver be on the line of scrimmage? Hey, coach, call a timeout. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Mason runs for 22 yards. I'm not saying he would have done that if they recognize that and called a timeout, but they could have come back in the same formation perhaps and tried that. If they don't get it, fine. At least they called the timeout. Instead, they don't. They run the play. It's an illegal formation. It's just another example of Tomlin and his staff not catching things when they should. You know what I mean? They should be able to figure that out, right? At least one receiver on the line of scrimmage, at least one. At least one. Okay, they punt the ball away, right? They run the play, they have the formation, they lose time, they run another play, it does no good. They kick, and then they lose the 2-minute warning, right? So then they lose a timeout essentially. Right. So they did get the ball back, but they had no timeouts left. It was just a disaster all around. Defense, yeah, they got the strip sack and the touchdown in the beginning of the second quarter, and that was great and all of that. But let me just tell you a little bit about some of the things that I saw. And these are not my stats. I just want you to understand. The Steelers defense has given up 149 plays of 10 yards or more. Okay. 10 yards or more. There's only 5 teams that have given up more defensively. Okay. What's TJ Watt got this year? He's got maybe his worst sack average that he's going to have for a full season since he was a rookie. Cam Hayward, 1.5 sacks at this stage of the season. He had 8 last year. Their Patrick Queen ranks 75th out of 83 linebackers. What more can you say about the defense? Maybe it's the schemes, all right? I guess Debo was raging about this, him and Debo and Joe on his podcast. Everybody's been talking about the schemes. Everybody's been talking about how they're so inconsistent. They can look great against Indianapolis, who came into that game just on fire, and they basically just shut that team down. Then they go out and lay an egg against what is a decent offense. And by the way, that one touchdown play on the 2-yard line, did you see that? I sent that in the group chat for Steel City. We had 2 down linemen on the 2-yard line against the best run offense in the NFC and a very good attacking offense on the run. They run the ball extremely well. We had 2 down linemen on that play on the 2-yard line, and they double teamed both the guys, and they walked in for a touchdown. It is schemes. It seems like.
Was that the 3rd and 2, John?
Yeah, it was at the goal line. That's correct. They were up 3 at that point. The Bears were up 3 at that point. Yeah, and they ran 2. Not 4, with 4 behind them, right? They didn't pound the box up. Yeah. They put 2 down linemen on the line of scrimmage. What are we even talking about?
With a run-strong team.
Right, but that's the whole point. Yeah, that's right.
Mac, close it out, buddy.
I could jump in and pile on, gentlemen, but it's Thanksgiving. I'd like to focus on a few positives here. This is one of the few times, right, that our teams actually outgained our opponent. How about that? I mean, we had more yards. 350 yards. Not that it's staggering. Okay, we had more first downs. We had time of possession. We equaled them in turnovers. I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for. How about Mason? Mason played a good game for a backup. I said last week, he's arguably one of the best backups in the game. I think he proved the point. He had 7 incompletions total. Did he knock the socks off? No. But the team played pretty well, okay, overall, against a pretty good football team. They're 8-3, gentlemen. Yeah. Again, I know they're overblown 8-3, and I said that last week. But I said the Steelers were over-evaluated at 6-4 then. They're 6-5. Not shocked. But they did play a decent game for the talent that they possess. That's all I got.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. My biggest thing, too, is you could have, that final drive, you had a chance to tie or win in the final minute. You stopped, 4th down. Brisker tips Rudolph's pass to the line of scrimmage, and that was it.
Damn.
Yeah, that was it.
Look, Mason played a decent game. He was 77% completion percentage. Yeah, that first interception, he had 2 turnovers. The interception, that was a great job by that defender. I mean, he made an incredible. Yeah, he made an incredible pick on that ball. And there was some question whether or not he was inbounds or not, whatever. Right. They gave it to him, and that's fine. But yeah, he didn't He didn't make such egregious mistakes where you can say it was Mason's fault, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
That was my only point. I don't think
Yep.
they played out of their mind, but I don't think Mason's to blame. But
No, I don't either.
I think the big stress of this whole thing is, and I know, I don't know if you guys heard James Harrison. I don't like quoting him, but my goodness, he hit the nail on the head. There's some problems with the scheme there, and it's boring. It's prehistoric. It's archaic. We can pick any adjective we want. Boy, it's stale, gentlemen.
Well, you know what? You know what my biggest pet peeve of this team is? You outspent all the other teams 4 years in a row, guys. 4 years in a row.
They're highest
and you're ranked 28th. You're ranked 28th.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
Fiscally irresponsible.
Yeah, I mean, my God.
I mean, I think it was their backup running back. Was he our best receiver or second best receiver on the day? I mean, that scheme just shows right there.
I'm going to say that.
4 or 5 balls.
Yeah, Gainwell had a decent game. 10 carries, 92 yards. Yeah, he was number 2. He had 6 receptions for 30 yards. You know.
Well, on that note, when you got your only guy, DK Metcalf, that goes down in the, and I don't know what's wrong with him, his ankle or something. When he's not a presence, they have nothing.
Right.
They have nothing.
Well, and here's another pet peeve I have. And John, when we were doing the pregame show, Paul Zeiss and I were talking about this when you had dropped off. What are you doing with Jono Smith?
What are they doing with Pat Freiermuth?
Right. But my thing is
I've suggested this. Put Jono Smith in the wide receiver 2 position.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I told you.
Yeah. Right? This eliminates one of the tight end you have 2 tight ends to worry about, and you can put Freiermuth back in the 1 spot and then use Washington as you wish. But why not put Jonnu Smith in that wide receiver 2 position? But again, they struggle with this, and again, I don't want to. I just been beating this dead horse for 8 or 9 years now about Tomlin. He is football operations. Any decision comes from him. He is football operations. It's not Art Rooney. Art could care less, right? All Art cares about is maintaining the Rooney name and legacy. That's it, right? That's all he cares about. Tomlin deals with the football operations, period. So this all comes down to Tomlin. He should be able to go to Art and say, "Hey, look, what's this? We've got these little midgets at 5'10" in the wide receiver 2 position. Let's get Jonnu out there. Let's split him out. We got Pat in his rightful position. He's been demoted for no reason. Like, why should Pat Freiermuth's numbers be down the way they are, 60-70% over last year at this time? Makes no sense.
Well, yeah, I think there's a couple reasons. Freiermuth does not block well, and I know they were going a lot of 13 personnel for the reason of hey, we need more protection for Rodgers. Okay. Paul and I were talking about this. Okay, so when you see Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth out there, if you're a defense, what are you thinking? Okay, you're okay. They're going to pass the ball, right? When you have Washington out there, the guy blocks, the guy catches. You don't know what they're going to do when he's in there.
I think he's the number 1.
Yeah,
well,
with point there.
That's another topic we can get on, but let's not give Washington too much credit for the blocking. Okay.
Well, he was a little. Yeah, no, against the Bears, I agree. He was against the Bears. There was, there's a lot to be desired. But I said this, Jonnu Smith. Hey, the day of the straight line tight ends, your Tony Gonzalez's, those days are over, right? Those days are over. You look around the league. There's plenty of tight ends that are getting volumes of catches that are almost in the number 2 and number 3. So in some teams they are. Jonnu Smith had 88 receptions last year for Miami. Why are they not utilizing him more? Why are they not throwing the ball to him more? I don't understand.
That's a great question, and John brings up a good point. Experiment, try some things.
Try
you got a guy that's he's 6'3".
He could be your number two. He could be your number two. I don't understand this.
Yeah, he's 6'3". You got Freiermuth, who's 6'6", I think.
Yeah.
You know, and you can let him play the tight end, push Smith out there. I love it.
I do too.
Mac, I tell you what, I don't know who does anybody follow Ryan Scarpino on X? Do you guys know who he is?
I do.
Ryan,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Ryan
was he was a media relations guy for the Steelers for about 6 years. He put something out today that I absolutely loved. This is a quote from Mike Tomlin in 2015. This is from Ryan Scarpizio on X. Mike had this response in his weekly press conference to a question. It said, "You have to have the courage of your convictions. You can mince a lot of life just hesitating or not taking calculated risks associated with chasing greatness or living out your dreams." I've just always been one to try and do that. Well, why aren't you doing it right now, Mike? Why are you not doing it right now? And Scarps goes on to say, I don't know if Mike from a decade ago is the same Mike he is today, but I believe back then that there's a part of me that still believes he could turn this around. He won't. He has no desire to turn it around. Why should he turn this around when there's no real pressure? I mean, yeah, okay, maybe the owner is, talking a little bit about frustration. At the end of the day, this is Mike Tomlin's football team to run. He's getting more heat, but he's going to get at least another season out of this. I can tell you that right now. He's going to become the all-time winningest head coach. If he could stick around for 24 years and beat that record of Noel, he would. I don't think he'll get that amount of time. He's probably look. 6 games left. Do you see 3 wins on this schedule? Anybody? Anyone? Tracy?
No.
Anyone?
I don't know.
Yeah, anybody?
I see 2 wins.
So we're gonna. Right. Okay, that's fine. And maybe he gets 3-3 and they go 9-8, but they don't make the playoffs. He still has another winning season, right? All of this stuff is important to Mike. He hates the media. He could care less what anybody says. All he's caring about now at this point is his lineage and history and preserving that. That's it. That's as far as I can take. That's what I can tell you. I feel that's where he is right now at this stage in his career.
Well, and I agree with that, John. He hates the media, and I know Jared DePaula mentioned that not this past week, but the week before on our pregame show about how he has a disdain for the media. He does. Just listen to his press conference and hear every week him go head to head with Brooke Pryor. The way he treats her, it's terrible. I mean, he is a. I don't even want to get into it with that.
I will say this. I was shocked, and I'm sure you guys were too, when Darius Slay didn't hit the field, and he actually let Pierre play, which he should have.
Yeah.
I was a little shocked, so I will give a little nod.
Yeah.
I don't know who
I
made
agree with
decision.
that. Yeah.
And Slay didn't come in until Porter, got hurt or whatever. So that was a slight nod. I mean, I'll give him this much credit. Yeah. But I will notice there's a few things, but why did we not throw the ball one time over the field with 3 linebackers out from Chicago? Not one ball. Right. Can someone tell me that?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I would have thrown it to Washington over that middle that whole time, but Pierre has been playing out of his mind. Something changed, and he shifted a gear.
Yeah, I agree.
Not one ball. Not one.
I know, Mac.
You had 3 linebackers out for the Bears. 3.
Right.
Yeah.
3 of them.
And I mean, this is. I mean, if we can see it, why can't they? I don't understand that. What is the? I don't know. I don't know. Beside myself on that. Great segue, guys. Let's talk Tomlin press conference today, and then we'll get into the Bills. Some key takeaways. I got some notes here. Although Aaron Rodgers missed the previous game, Tomlin said he's optimistic that the quarterback's going to return for the lineup in Week 13 against the Bills. He said he's going to be limited early in the week, but he says it's trending in the right direction for the end of the week. I'm guessing he plays. I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing he plays.
They have no choice but to play him, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, now they have to play him. They
Right.
thought they could go into that Bears game and maybe win with Mason. Now they have no choice but to see him play. But go ahead.
Yeah. Talk Broderick Jones, offensive tackle, is going to be out for the game against the Bills. Got a neck injury, stinger.
That was weird. Did you watch that play, by the way?
Yeah.
I saw what happened real time. I seen him go down. I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah. Well, it looked like the Bears linebacker kind of leaped in the air and kind of it was kind of weird the way you could see his neck kind of compact, which I think that's what gave him the stinger. Another big boy that's going to be out, Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, is going to be out for week 13 with a knee injury.
I think it's even worse. That's going to hurt us even more. Our linebackers are terrible already, let alone without that guy there.
Yeah. Couple questions. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it was amazing that we got him back against the Patriots. He was a disruptor in that game. You know what I mean? Like he was a disruptor in that game, and we had 5 turnovers in that game. He played a small part in that for sure, but not having him definitely hurts, no question.
Oh, absolutely. And I caught the tail end of it, but tell me what happened with what did Tomlin actually say about this special teams? Because I know this was a big topic of discussion on the with Pony and Muller on the fan in the afternoon was how he made it a point to basically open the press conference up and basically go after special teams as being one of the number one issues on that Bears loss. What I got the tail end of it, but what was the entire gist of the whole thing?
Well, I thought the Bones was mainly attacking the punting, the punting game. You know, I mean, I don't think he had any real hardcore specifics. I don't know. John Trace, I don't know.
I saw 2 minutes. Yeah, I saw 2 minutes. Go ahead, Trace. I saw 2 minutes of the post.
I didn't see it at all. Not Tomlin's press conference. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I watched it. It mainly pinpointed. He mentioned punting like twice within the blame game, if you will. But whatever. I mean.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, his defense gave up quite a few points. The punter was not good. If you're talking about the punter, you're grasping for straws, folks.
I mean, I would ask why Washington's blocking Montez Sweat twice in a row. That's what I would ask. And, you know.
That's fair.
Well,
it is fair without help.
Yeah, no help, Trace.
Right.
Even a chip for that guy. He's not a tackle. He's a tight end.
Yeah, I know he's 385 pounds. You know.
He is like the bust of the tight ends right now.
Sorry, Darnell, but you do look like you are.
All right. Let's segue. Speaking of questions, he was asked a schematic question. When asked a detailed question about the defensive strategy against specific offensive formations, Tomlin declined to peel back the layers of his team schematic approach, but was impressed by the depth of the question.
Word salad, yummy, yummy.
Exactly. What kind of dressing do you want on that word salad? Butter. I prefer buttermilk ranch. Just throwing it out there.
I am certain that Mike Tomlin is the 6th Wiggle from Australia. I'm almost positive.
Well, you know what? I heard this today. There was a guy called in on the fan, and he said he made a good point. He said, I really believe that, in recent years that Mike Tomlin has kind of become he's kind of become a little bit. How did he word it? He's basically self-conscious. Like he has, the confidence, it's not there. He tries to mask it. And, I've seen that being in the military. I know Mac, Trace, you guys can probably relate to this, but how many times have you seen senior leaders in the military that can talk a good game, but they're self-conscious, and what do they do when something goes awry? They always blame their subordinates, right? Their top subordinates, right? Their leaders, next leadership down from them. They always blame that. And I really see that in Mike Tomlin a lot. I don't know if you guys notice that, but I do. I notice that.
I've been saying for 10 years that this guy he's never known X's and O's ever. I think he's a leader that leads, and that's about it. In terms of schemes, X's and O's, he doesn't know any of it.
Well, yeah, a lot of that Super Bowl win that he had. A lot of people said, "Hey, that was the that was Ben Roethlisberger. That was Dick LeBeau and Dick LeBeau's defense." Everybody, and judging on what judging on what we've seen in the body of work since then, it kind of makes you wonder, right? Kind of makes you wonder.
It's a wonder.
Yeah. Tomlin also touched on the loss of the Bears. He said the late rally came up short. He made a reference the need to live every down singularly, acknowledging, geez, hello, that any number of plays could have changed the outcome.
I love it.
What are we talking about? I mean, I'm waiting for real man of genius. I mean, come on, okay, scoring more points helps you win the game.
Yeah, you don't score until you score.
Yeah, great, Captain Obvious. What do we?
Yeah.
I mean, it's becoming mind-numbing listening to him in these Tuesday press conferences. It literally may drive you to become a zombie if you do it. I'm just putting it out there. Disclaimer.
Well, it's tiresome. It's tiresome, and now the collective of fans and media are just, at this point, it's become a loud roar, but again, who hears the roar? Does Art hear the roar and try to do something at the end of the year based on how they finish? Right. I asked you guys earlier, how many wins do you see in the last six games? Everybody said 2. That makes them 8 and 9. It kills the streak. And I hate to say this. Well, I do. I don't mind. I don't mind saying it. Andrew Filipponi brought something up on X earlier, which I thought was smart. If the Bills somehow don't make the playoffs and they fire their head coach, do you go to their owner who has ties to Pittsburgh and say, "Hey, let's make a deal. Let's make a deal." He gets Josh Allen, right? Look, again, it parallels what happened for Tomlin. And again, look at Tomlin's resume. 4 years as a defensive backs coach in Tampa. He spent 1 year as the coordinator in Minnesota. Do you know how much he improved their defense in that 1 year? It went from 19 to 14 by a whole 17 yards over 17 games. He was handed a Super Bowl caliber roster, and he managed to get to 2 Super Bowls. And then after that, the last 15 years, nothing. If he gets if that scenario makes sense, but Tomlin has to want to buy into that, and I don't know if he wants that.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk Steelers Bills. Pivotal AFC clash. Bills coming off a bad loss, getting beat by the Houston Texans last Thursday night. They've had a lot of bad losses this year. I've been shocked by, their. I'm not going to call it a collapse, but it hasn't been good.
I just don't think they have anything around Josh Allen at all for him.
He doesn't have the weapons like he used to.
No, he doesn't. And the defense hasn't been good for them either.
It's another great point.
Yeah, they've
struggled. I mean, outside of James Cook, he doesn't have the weapons that he wants. And they're terrible on the road, by the way. Outside of beating the Jets and the Panthers, they lost at Atlanta, they lost at Miami, and they lost at Houston.
Right.
It seems like once Edmonds left, their middle linebacker, they haven't been the same. That team has not been the same.
That's a good point, Trace. I agree with that. That's a very good point. Quarterback matchups. I mean, Rodgers expect a return from injury. We may have a little bit of a duel. I don't know. I mean, I know that one thing I know about this Bills offense is their time of possession. They have a significant advantage on time of possession, which it wears down opponents, guys. It leads to more, obviously it leads to more possessions, but do you think they still have a high-powered offense? I mean,
I think Josh
Buffalo?
Allen is very good at converting on third downs, and that's why the possession time is good.
I don't know what's gonna. I don't know. It's a high. I want to call it a high-powered offense, but in recent weeks it hasn't been a high-powered offense.
They've scored 30 or
Steelers-
more in 6 of 11 games this year. So they're a high-powered offense.
Yeah.
He can put it together. It just he needs the cast to support him with it. I think Josh Allen is excellent.
He's got 10 rushing touchdowns and 18 touchdown passes this year. He's
Right.
effective. He runs for over 5 yards a carry. He only rushes a little over 5 times a game. He's dangerous. He's their weapon. He is their weapon, period.
Right.
That was the best stat right there. That's why they have time of possession. Those 5 yards is probably the first downs they need on third down or fourth down.
Yep.
That keeps it going, right?
Yeah. I wish I had time to go back and look, but you're probably right.
I'll jump in. I mean, Josh Allen is the best quarterback in football. I said it. I'll go on record as
I agree.
declaring it. They got a running back that he averages 5 yards a carry. Okay, he's one of the best in the game. He's over 1,000 yards for the year. Okay, Josh Allen runs the football. He's at 300 or 400 yards himself. He runs 5.5 yards a carry. They got Shakir. He's a solid receiver. Dalton Kincaid, I think, is going to be back for this game. So that could be another issue and another weapon they have. I don't know if he's back or not, but I heard he may play.
He's back.
So they got some guys, and they can spread the ball around. They got that Coleman kid that caught a few balls from earlier this year. So they're high-powered. The problem with them, their defense stinks. I just think that's their big problem. And not to mention, let's not forget that Joe Brady, okay, doesn't even remember what Joe Burrow looks like. And he owes him half his salary. What is Brady doing there? He's ruining that team.
You may be right. I mean,
If there's only one thing we can get after, though, it's I think Josh Allen holds the ball a little bit long, and I think the offensive line is a little bit suspect. We have a chance to get after the quarterback in this game, and that could be our only way to stop this thing and slow it down.
Well, and I think you got to try and force turnovers too.
No, I mean that comes with that. I agree.
Well,
yeah.
That's forcing him to run and throw at the same time. That's when he makes the most mistakes, when he turns the ball over, especially as in terms of interceptions. When you force him to run and make a tough decision passing the ball, that's the key. He is Ben Roethlisberger version 2.0. His size, he's hard to bring down, very hard, can get you. And Ben didn't run nearly as much. I mean, Ben ran when he absolutely needed to. Josh has no fear in that, and that's what makes him really super dangerous. But if they can force Allen to move around too much and make a bad decision, or at least a quick decision to throw, that's when he has issues in terms of turning the ball over.
We talked injuries, obviously.
And I'll say this.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, close your ears, because if this kid stays healthy, he'll be better than Roethlisberger. I said it. Yeah, this kid's the real deal. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know, what's the deal with Brian Dable? Because if they could get Brian Dable to come back and hook up with Josh Allen again, he would be like Jesus, like he was for 3 years, like in the early, 2021, 2, 3-ish. Maybe, okay, a rung below Moses, all right?
Well,
I think Dable's cracking tall boys. That's what he's doing right now.
I will say this about Jesus. He did not win against the Romans. I will say that much.
You're trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball.
It's the Romans.
Yeah, we're talking injuries. Broderick Jones neck, Derek Harmon knee. Bills also are dealing with injuries. Spencer Brown's going to be out. Ed Oliver already's on injured reserve. weather. I mean, we could get some rain in this game and possible snow too. They said so.
Did you mention Porter there? Did you mention Porter, Bill?
I did not, but I mean, yeah, he's.
I didn't know. That's why I was asking.
So he's questionable.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's with that hip, right?
Yeah.
The hip that bounced off the turf.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, when he got that interception, I know it was called back and everything like that, but don't palm the freaking ball.
Oh
dumbass.
my goodness!
I mean, can we? Yeah, oh my god! I
thought Town Talk was back in business.
I liked how J.J. Watt or whoever it was announcing, was like, he's holding it like a loaf of bread.
Town Talk.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. Bills are what is it? -4.5, I think, at this point in time. I think that's what it is. Over under 47.5. I don't know. Let's go around the horn, guys. I'm gonna go. Oh God. I'm gonna go. Oh shit. I'm gonna go 28-17 Steelers. Or no, 28-17 Bills. I gotta do it. Trace.
35-28 Steelers.
John.
I am the worst prognosticator when it comes to the Steelers. This is actually good for them that they lost, but it's bad for them that Buffalo lost. I say this game ends in a 40-40 tie.
Woo! Okay. Okay.
And I hope I have every over, and I hope I have all the totals and everything, and I win $1 grillion.
Mac, go ahead, buddy.
I don't know how to follow that up, but I hate to do it, Pittsburgh fans, but it's 27-21. Buffalo lost. I think they're mad coming in there. I think Josh Allen finds a way to get it done.
That's what I'm saying. 28-17. I'm standing by that. Yeah. So, all right, let's switch gears here. Let's talk some Penguins. A little bit of a skid there for the Penguins.
On the schneid.
Yeah, a little bit on the schneid there. They got Buffalo coming in tomorrow night, the Thanksgiving Eve. Let's look at the last couple games. I mean, God, last Friday night was terrible. 5-0. They got beat by the Wild. Got beat by the Kraken Saturday at a 3-2 final in overtime. I mean, what are you thinking, guys? I mean.
What is it like? The last 10, 12 games, they lost 8, 9, something like that.
Yeah, it's.
That's what I'm thinking.
They've taken a little bit of a skid here. I guess Rust is he has an illness. I don't. He's expected to play tomorrow, but Tristan Jarry. He's progressing from a lower body injury. Who cares? I mean, I think you got to move this guy. I think you got to move him. I know I was looking at some other stuff. Koivunen is I guess he's going to be returning to practice soon, so you're going to get him back. But I don't know, taking a little bit of a skid. Just looking at their next couple games, like I said, you got the Sabres coming in. The Sabres aren't good at all. I mean, they're 9-9-4. Penguins 10-6-5, and then you got the Blue Jackets. After that, you're going to the Blue Jackets on Friday, and then so you got Sabres Wednesday. You're off Thanksgiving. You're out the Blue Jackets Friday, and then you're back home again on Saturday against the Leafs. So lots of luck there. Just saying.
Well, it's a long season. They got out to a great start. You're right. Everybody was nostalgic. And then, reality starts to set in. I mean, they're 24 games into the season, 23 games into the season. It's a long haul. They've been rotating goaltenders, partially out of injury, partially out of who knows why. Maybe they'll be there in the 7th or 8th slot by the end of the season, but hockey doesn't really start till February. Anyhow. Who are we really kidding here? I mean, it's great. They got up to that great start, but talk to me in February about this team. Where are they at that point?
I do think it is important that they got out to that great start. If there is even a chance they're going to make it because of their age, they're not going to be able to do it a late run. That's for sure. Without the early start, there was zero chance.
I agree. You can when you get off to that good of a start. I mean, you can afford a little bit of a skid here and there. Not a big one. I mean, you can't afford 5-6 games. You can't lose 10 out of 12. But you can afford a little bit of a skid. You can afford you lost 3 of 6 or something like that. I don't know, Mac. What do you think? I mean, what's your?
I think you guys have hit it. The early start was very important. Every point's vital. But Trace brings up the age, and I hate to say it, but their top 5 guys in points are all over the age of 32. You got Crosby, you got Malkin, you got Rust. I mean, Mantha's old, Carlson. You got all these guys, and so the goalies have been the problem in this slide. They've been letting up more goals in the last 6 games. Okay. So they're on a little downslide. It's important they got the start that they got, though. So let's take a look in perspective. They're still in the middle of the thick of things. And frankly, they're still in the top 10 power rankings. So
Yep.
Hey,
And they're currently the third wild card right now. Again, they're 21 games in. It's just,
It's
you know what I mean? It's so early. But Tracy's right. They got out to the start that they did. They grabbed 25 points, and that may help them when we get to February. Right? We'll see where they're at. In another 10 weeks.
And
it's
Trace,
a tough slide. It's a tough one.
And Trace, I think to your point, they need that, especially being the old team that they are. They're going to need that in February where they may wear down a little bit, right? So,
well, hopefully they come back hot too, even after like the breaks and things like that, right? Maybe they come back a little bit of momentum and get their wins. I don't know, whatever.
It's a full slate this week, that's for sure. God.
Yeah.
But like I said, you got the Sabres coming in tomorrow night. You're off for Thanksgiving. You go to Columbus, and then you're hosting the Leafs Saturday night. All right, real quick, let's touch on the Pirates just real fast. I mean, let's just fly by real quick, buzz the tower, so to speak.
If we must.
Well, I mean. This wouldn't be a Pittsburgh show if we don't talk a little, just 30 seconds about the Pirates. Come on. All I gotta say, the news: the team avoided arbitration with outfielder Jack Sawinski. You sign him to a 1-year, $1.25 million deal. The guy hit 147 last year.
Poor Jack Sawinski.
Poor Jack Sawinski. I would have went back to AAA for crying out loud.
And what does 1.47 million buy you anymore these days, folks? Get you a house in Blawnox?
A career 180 hitter?
Yeah.
The fact that he got 1.47 million is the story. I mean, what are we even talking about?
I mean, this guy, aside from his rookie year, I think his rookie year he had 20 home runs. He has done nothing. We have seen monumental hitting skids by Jack Sawinski. We're not talking, he was struggled for, 10, 12 games. We're talking like 30 games. He was sent down to the minors. How many times has he been sent down to the minors? Called back up.
Like 15 times?
Yeah, it's just the juice is not worth the freaking squeeze with this guy.
This guy, and John made a good point. The guy's making $1.5 million bucks. He should be the Tony Robbins for the minor leagues. How did he get this done?
Yeah. It's his agent. His agent.
It's a crime. It's an absolute crime.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. I mean, I know there was other talk about this whole Post-Gazette article that the Pirates were going to spend, which that fell flat on its face, and there was talks that Kyle Schwarber, the Pirates were trying to do everything they could do to get Kyle Schwarber, and it's just all a bunch of nonsense. I mean, folks, don't believe anything from this organization. Okay, take it with a grain of salt. All right, Pitt football defeated Georgia Tech. Final score 42-28, Bobby Dodd Stadium. Pitt dominated early, jumping out to a 28-0 lead. I was scared because I'm thinking, oh God, it was in the second quarter, halfway through the second quarter, 28-0. I'm thinking, oh man, they're going to take their foot off the gas, and that did kind of happen. It did kind of happen, guys. Georgia Tech mounted a comeback, narrowing the deficit 35-28 in the fourth quarter after that Pitt fake punt failed. What the hell were you doing on that is what I want to know. They sealed the victory with a 56-yard touchdown run, touchdown run by Ja'Karian Turner with under 3 minutes remaining. And then that key moment in the game was that 100-yard pick six by linebacker Braylon Lovelace, the pride of Leechburg, 10 minutes down the road from where I'm at, folks, the pride of Leechburg. Braylon Lovelace, Leechburg, a big rivalry in high school. That was one of our biggest rivalries for Apollo Ridge.
You guys lost him, huh?
And after, the guy that got away. Yeah. And after Georgia Tech had driven, after he picked that off after Georgia Tech had driven to Pitt to the 5-yard line, big play, sealed the game. What do you guys think about that win? John, you start us off.
I was in a casino losing obscene amounts of money in Oklahoma when that game was on. Just the worst card players. I fall into their laps every single time. Look, I watched them get out to a 28-0 lead. At least this game mattered to Pat Narduzzi. That's all I'm going to say. At least it mattered to Pat. Look, they got the win. And I talked about last week. You can go back and check the tape. I said they got to slow down Georgia Tech's running game, and they did that. Actually, they actually limited the Georgia Tech rushing attack considerably. Now, it didn't hurt that they had a defensive touchdown, and they just they controlled the game from the very beginning, and it was a great effort on their part. But and there's no reason to think that they can't do this Saturday against Miami. Miami is such a fickle program. They have been this way for 20 plus years. Just really, you just don't know what Hurricanes team you're going to get. They need help. They need help. They need somebody. They need Virginia Tech to either beat Virginia, or they need SMU to lose. They got to play California. But look, a good season. If they end up with 9, if they beat Miami, but they get left out of the ACC championship game, still a pretty good season.
Oh, yeah,
all things considered, even though one of their games against Notre Dame didn't really matter. Yeah,
right. Panthers need to win, like you said, their regular season finale against number 14 Miami. I think we could say that it's doable. Like you said, Miami's been fickle. They've been up and down this year. And then you need either a loss by Virginia or SMU to advance to the ACC title game. Yellow Jackets, losing that game, they're eliminated from ACC championship contention. And they had a win-and-in scenario coming into that game, and they weren't able to get it done.
Crazy. And we jumped out that far on them.
Yeah. What'd you think, Mac?
Well, I think Narduzzi owes Haynes King maybe his coaching job, okay? Because if he doesn't throw that pick and he throws that touchdown, we're probably not talking about that. We're talking about Narduzzi in flames, right?
Yeah.
If they lose another one, and that
I don't know.
Burns, huh? I don't know what is Jake Hiron Turner. What is that name? I don't know. Anyway, Jake Turner. Yeah, Ja'Karian. Well, thanks, Bill. I don't know. That's a great name. Anyway, Turner killed him. Just ran through him like it was ridiculous. He controlled the game for him, and I was blown away. Couldn't even believe they won. I couldn't believe when they were up 21-0, and they scored another one.
I was worried at 28-0. I'm like, this is early in the game. I'm hoping they don't take their foot off the gas. Like I said, they did for a little while. Georgia Tech mounted that comeback, narrowed the deficit to 35-28 fourth quarter.
Yeah.
After that fake punt, Trace, what'd you think of this game?
I thought it was great, and then I got nervous just like you. And I do think that they held the opposing team's quarterback at bay, and that's what the difference was.
Right.
Like I just thought it was fun to watch. I'm excited about the season other than the West Virginia loss. That's all.
Haynes King has been amazing this year, but he wasn't in that game, that's for sure. All right, looking at Miami here, guys. They said the Hurricanes have a 33% chance to make it to the ACC championship if they can defeat Pitt. Miami boasts talent advantage and is favored to win in this game. But Pitt is a confident team. I think that after this win against Georgia Tech, I think that it really boosts the confidence. I know Miami's getting some guys back. The defensive back, Jacoby Thomas is coming back. I think Pitt, you got to be aggressive defensively, and I think that if you put pressure on Carson Beck, and you limit those explosive plays, I think they could win this game. It's going to be cold. It's going to be freaking cold on. I think they said that it could drop down to 28 in that game. So Miami's a warm weather team. I don't know. People say that really doesn't matter anymore because teams can simulate the whole outdoors and everything like that. But I don't know. It's just there's cold and then there's Acrisure cold, right? So, but
True.
what are you guys thinking about Miami? I mean, what anything to add on my analysis?
What have the Canes won? Besides beating Notre Dame in week 1, where are their gold medals? I have no, I mean, it's just, it's a very.
Say that about a lot of college teams.
And that's fine. Is Cristobal still their head coach? Mario Cristobal, he's still their head coach. He's an up and down guy. I mean, I hear plenty of Canes fans that just, rail against him year after year, and he's still in charge of that program. They're very up and down. They should be dominating college football, for crying out loud. They're the Miami freaking Hurricanes. They have access to the best talent in the state of Florida. And this is a game. Pitt can win this game for sure, 100%.
Yeah. I'm not sold on Carson Beck. I haven't been sold on him even when he was at Georgia. I haven't been sold on him. So,
well, I mean, I think the kid can throw the football. I don't think there's any question of that. He's mature. He's had a lot of starts. They got a decent running back. That Fletcher kid. He can run the football. It's not. This. I mean, this team's a top 10. I know they're not. What are they? 14, 15, 14?
14. Yep.
Okay. I think they're a top 10 team. I really do. I think they're a little strong for Pitt, but I guess I'm on record from saying that Pitt was going to lose last week too. But I think Miami's a little better team than Georgia Tech was. I think they're going to have a tough time. It is here in Pittsburgh, so they do got a shot, but that's a solid football team though. And I think that you're right about the coaching. He's been up and down. I think he was at Duke before that, right? Cristobal?
I believe so. Yes, he was at Duke. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I recall, it was the same kind of story there. But he revamped that team there. He did. That team was non-existent before he got there. So.
Miami's favored by 6.5. Trace, you got anything to add on Miami?
Nope. I look forward to watching now.
All right, let's talk Pitt basketball, gentlemen. Narduzzi. Narduzzi. What the hell am I talking about? Capel, that lost Sunday night, said he was outcoached, outprepared, outplayed by Quinnipiac, folks. What the hell is a Quinnipiac? Nothing, and I don't know either, guys.
They're the Bobcats.
Okay. All right. Quinnipiac shot at 57% from the floor, and we're 64% outside the arc. Okay. He had a lot of struggles from Pitt guards. This was a historic victory for Quinnipiac. Their first win ever against an ACC opponent, ever. Okay. So, you pay them to come here and play, you should kick their ass, right? You don't. Like I said, this was terrible. Okay. You gave up 47 first half points to this team for the love of God. The Minor was terrible. Witherspoon struggled. I mean, these guys were terrible. I mean, they're 7 of 23 shooting with 9 turnovers and only 6 assists, guys. You had Minor, What the hell's his name? I even can't even pronounce his name. I'm not even gonna go there. We'll just Witherspoon, the guy with the I name that's really long. Interstatus. I don't even know. But anyway, 7 of 23, and they combined with 9 turnovers and only 6 assists. He took responsibility, though. He said he took responsibility. Let me tell you something. I think Capel should be fired. I really do. Inconsistent performance has been his calling card for a long time here. This comes from a guy who's defended him over the years, and I've stopped doing it. He's had a couple successful seasons, and that's about it. Since he took over for what the hell was his name?
Jamie Dixon.
No, it was after Jamie Dixon. His son played for the Pirates. Oh, I forget his name. Anyway, he coached at Wake Forest, is who Capel took over for. But this is terrible. I mean, he's really a systemic failure to sustain any success in this town.
Kevin Stallings. It was Kevin Stallings.
Kevin Stallings. Yeah, Kevin Stallings. Yeah.
Sorry.
Bad conference record. Have had a poor conference record as of recent years. What do you guys think about this? Talk to me about this loss. You got Ohio State coming in Friday night. Talk to me about this loss. And am I off on saying that Capel should have been fired? This for me, if I was the athletic director, the chancellor, whatever, this would be grounds for fired.
He's got a $15 million buyout after this season. It drops to $5 million after next year. He's going to probably coach one more season, and then they got to be done with him. I said this last week. You take away his non-conference record over 8 seasons, this guy's he's just awful, and that's in part because Pitt basketball is not a perennial power, never has been. I don't care what they did 15 years ago under Jamie Dixon, a couple runs, won to the Elite Eight, big deal. They have no history, real successive history in basketball. Nobody's coming here. Their facility is nice, but it's what, 20 years old now, 23 years old now. Nobody's winning at Pitt. Nobody's winning in Oakland. It does not matter. It would be rare. You would need an incredibly dynamic young head coach to come in here that can bring in the recruits that he needs for his system. But ultimately, you would lose a coach like that to a bigger program, especially if there was a vacancy. He's going to be here at least another year.
Capel was fired from his previous head coaching job at Oklahoma. He had 2 consecutive losing seasons, had issues within the program, which, I see that as a pattern. That's what I see it, and not being able to rebuild, not being able to sustain success. Mac, Trace, what do you guys think?
Fire him.
Well, I guess if Tracy's done, I'll jump in. Boy, this show's got a theme going. I said, gentlemen, it's Thanksgiving. We're supposed to be thankful. We got Tomlin, we got Narduzzi, we got Capel. Good Lord, we're firing everybody.
You know who Tracy reminds me of? Do you remember the original Superman when they put those the bad guys in front of the jury? They were like guilty, and they were like holograms.
yeah.
Guilty.
Yep.
He would have made a great judge for that film.
But I do want to say, though, in reference to Capel, though, I'll jump in, and John was spot on. In the last decade, Capel's been at best a mediocre basketball coach. He had a couple years, like over at 15 years ago at Oklahoma. He had I think he had a small run, like way back. I'd have to go look.
He did.
Go back.
Yeah, he did, but his last 2 years there were bad. He had 2 consecutive losing seasons his last couple years. He had a lot of program issues.
Ran him out of there because. Yeah, didn't he have a recruiting issue or some money stuff going on?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, I
can't
remember exactly what it was. If I
He
did,
won
sorry,
70. He
sorry,
won
sorry,
79
sorry.
games. He won 79 games. He was 50-22 in the conference, and he had 4 tournament appearances. So he didn't do all that bad.
Yeah,
No.
no, and you're spot on. No one's winning there. No one's winning in Oakland.
Right.
Well,
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your
and John,
here's
what
your
you just
campus.
stated,
You got-
what you just stated with his contract, Pitt's kind of over a barrel, right?
They're
Yeah.
all over a barrel in college athletics, and they've done it to themselves. They've
Yep.
done it to themselves, and the money is so obscene that they don't. It's like they almost don't even care because now they've got Adidas and all these other, like all these other giant entities that are going to come in. Oh, we'll just pay it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or we got boosters now. Oh, I'll just give you $10 million, and they're worth a
Right.
$500 million. We'll pay it off. It's crazy.
Okay, I got Ohio State coming in Friday night. I don't even know what the hell's going to happen. So we'll just move on.
By the way, I'd like to make my bid for the next head coaching job at the University of Pittsburgh basketball program, if I could.
Go
If I
ahead.
can get that buyout, if I can get that buyout, why not?
Yeah. Well, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about. He had a big pet. He had a little bit of a. I don't know if you call it pedigree, but people were, well, he's a Krzyzewski product, and I think that kind of, I don't know. I think that was a selling point for Pitt hiring him. But I don't know. To me, it just hasn't. That was a terrible loss. I mean, that was bad. That was a bad loss to freaking Quinnipiac. Are you kidding me? I just. That's unexcusable in my book. All right, so Mac, you said we were all gloom and doom. Well, not anymore, my friend.
We're
Because
champions.
we're the city of Pittsburgh, baby, has brought back, or not brought back, but has won a championship. Has won a championship. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds Saturday won the USL championship on penalty kicks, beating Tulsa. It was just, John, fill us in. You were down there. I was writing. I wrote my story from my sofa. I was writing my story. I was sipping Seagram's ginger ale, and I was doing my story from my sofa, from my nice, warm, comfortable sofa. I had a nice Christmas blanket on. I know you were down there. First of all, it looked pretty gloomy down there, and it was like,
the weather was terrible. Yeah, it didn't rain, but it was overcast, and it was, it might have touched 50 at some point. I don't know. I will say that it was an enjoyable game, not because they won. It was nice to be in that kind of environment again, covering, a championship type of game. And it's the second division of soccer in America. And they're going to move up to a Division I status in a few years' time because the league itself is putting its product in a higher elevated area. The USL is moving to a Division I. They're going to continue to keep their format of a spring to fall type of setup. 14 teams, and Pittsburgh's going to be one of them with their stadium expansion. It was fun. It was enjoyable to watch. And I said last week they need to get this game to penalties. Unless they force an opportunity early, they're going to be tough to penetrate. Both teams came in with a big scoreless streak, but it became evident as that game drew closer to penalties that Tulsa was really just they were becoming a little desperate. They really pressed the play, especially in the extra time. They were really aggressive. But Eric Dick, what more can you say about that young man, the goaltender? He was the MVP of the game. A couple huge saves. I mean, just some big saves that he made. It was really fun to watch. And obviously now the big story is what's going to happen with their head coach Bob Lilly. The last exit interviews for the team are tomorrow. I expect a decision to be given by Thursday or Friday at the latest on his status. We'll see how that all plays out. But it was fun. It was a great environment. It was a great atmosphere. The fans that came down, the supporters that came down. Tuffy Schallenberger, how baller is this? He got a private jet out of Latrobe that morning, flew to the game, watched them win, met the team at the restaurant, said, "Get whatever you want. Congratulations, boys." Limoed back to the private jet, back to Latrobe. That's baller.
That's baller status for sure.
It is.
So they were talking about this on One Auto Talks Football, and they were saying, and I forget the guy that they had. They had Eric Winalda, and they had Jason Davis, and I forget the other guy they had on. He played on the national team for U.S. I forget a while back. I forget who it was.
Maybe?
No, it wasn't him. No, it was some guy I really never heard of much. But he made the comment. He said, how about Pittsburgh? He said, didn't concede a goal throughout the entire postseason and scored one goal in regulation, for crying out loud. One goal in regulation in 4 playoff games. The penalty kicks, I mean, my goodness gracious. How about, what was it? Jacobson, Mertz, Chase Boone, Sean Suber, Beto, they all converted on their kicks. I said this when I was watching this game. I said, I tell you what, they go into extra time, they get through extra time, they go to penalty kicks. We've got this because we've had so much success. Hey, the first 2 games you won in penalty kicks, right? The first 2 postseason games you won in penalty kicks. You were able to win that last one at home in regulation 1-0. But I said, hey, they get the penalty kicks. They're home free, baby. They got this.
They converted 13 of 14 penalty kicks in the 3 games that they went to penalties in. They caught the break of 2 posts, and of course Eric Dick made 2 saves, and that's it. That's really the be all end all of it all. 450 minutes of scoreless soccer plus extra time. They deserved it. They worked extremely hard, and it's great after 772 games in the franchise's history that they finally lift the championship trophy.
Yeah, 26 years. Came into wasn't the USL back then, but 1999.
It was the A-League.
Yeah, it was the A-League. Yep. And so great stuff. It's just
congratulations,
wonderful.
Right?
Yeah, and it was cold down there too, John. Right?
Was not warm. I can tell you that right now.
That's so my story. It said, the USL, or it said the Pittsburgh Riverhounds win their first USL championship in 26 years, and I said under a gray Tulsa sky. So that was my opening stanza to my artitle. All right.
Well, let me jump in here, gentlemen. I didn't get a chance for my soccer.
I thought you fall off. I'm sorry. You guys are still there.
I was hoping. I have to say, I watched my first full soccer game. Okay, quite enjoyable. I have to say, I had something prepared for you, John. So
okay.
I have to say, there's a boy from Upper St. Clair, right? He leaves Pittsburgh. He goes out to the great University of Michigan, right? He goes to Ann Arbor to learn how to become a man, comes back home, wins a championship for his hometown, Pittsburgh Riverhounds, right? Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Robbie Mertz is Mr. Brightside. Huh?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Great young man. Great young man.
Well, I got a question too. Is he related to the Mertz Plumbing? He's got to be, right? The Matt Mertz Plumbing?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think they're located up in they're up off of I'm pretty sure that they're up off of here in the North Hills.
I just, he's a tremendous young man. I mean, John and I both, John is the big timer writing for the Trib. I'm just a small potato guy. I just write for Stream Punk Entertainment. About maybe 20 people read my article. No, actually, I've gotten some people read my article, believe it or not. But I met Robbie Mertz's parents. It was like, I think it was back in August or July. I was up in the in the was in the corner there. They got the Modelo little shack there, and I was up top taking pictures. And the woman was up there, and I said, "Oh, sorry, ma'am." I said, "Am I in your way?" And she goes, "Oh no, I'm just up here, watching the game." She said, "Oh, my son's Robbie Mertz, by the way." I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Nice to meet you, Mrs. Mertz." I said, "He's a fine young man." And I met the old man too. He was next to her, but no, you know what? He great kid, great story too, by the way. But I like the MVP, Eric Dick. I was, you had to have given him the MVP, right? I mean, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, he was a wall for them. He was, and he had great defensive play in front of him, obviously. But I mean, that save he made with his arm, just fantastic. There was a header in the second half that came back to him that he made a great play on with his right hand. I mean, and then the save in PKs. I mean, that was really the difference. He was fantastic. He really was. And hats off to the team. They did a great job.
No question, Eric Dick stood strong, gentlemen.
Yeah. We love Dick. We love Dick.
They said it all game long. Believe me,
Yeah.
the Steel Army said it all. Get 2 hours. They were profane. They were abusive. They were what they were supposed to be.
They were drunk, right?
Yeah. They were. To the credit of the supporters of the Tulsa crew, I got to that stadium at 8 a.m. and they already had about 100 fans just with a bar set up outside the stadium, and they were like, "Oh yeah, those guys can come on in and drink. We don't care." I mean, it was a great atmosphere. It really was good for soccer.
Awesome, and that's a baseball stadium too.
It's
believe.
the Drillers, the LA Dodgers affiliate, and part of the Texas League, and great history there. And of course, the North American Soccer League history, where the Tulsa Roughnecks, they were the 1983 Soccer Bowl champs. So
Texas League, huh?
Yeah, Texas League baseball team.
John,
Yeah.
Hey, John, let me ask you, in terms of your roots, because you were there, with the team for quite a while. I think it's kind of a victory for yourself a little bit deep down, eh?
No, it was a great, look, I'm not trying to. You try not to make it about yourself, right? But it was a nice full circle moment, no question. I was with the team in its first year. I was with the team in its first year as its media relations director, and prior to that, when I was doing evenings on Ardmore Boulevard at AM 1250. Where Myron Copa made his name, Stan Saverin, right? I did evenings 6 to 10 there for a year. I helped name the team. They came to me and were like, "Would you please help us through the process?" And we had a bunch of things on our show where, we had Dave Casper come in, and we had this big thing where, people could come in and have this big event where, they could cast votes on the team. So I mean, I have a lineage and history with the club, and it was nice. It really was to be able to serve in that capacity. And I wasn't letting some second-rate stringer write my championship story. There was no way that was happening. So it was a good time. I'm happy I went.
It's awesome.
Happy for you, John. Good job.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Congratulations, John. It's great. I mean, it really is. It's Stream Punk Sports had in our group message. They're like, "Oh, how about this? Ed and Bill, their first year of writing, and the freaking team wins the championship." Like, so. Hey, you know what?
Awesome.
Don't know what to say. All right, everybody, that about does it for tonight. We'll be back next week, regular time next week. John, plug our show real quick Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to have 4 hours of pregame coverage, 4 hours. Working on guests right now. It is Thanksgiving week, but I believe we're going to do 4 hours of pregame. Steel City Sunday, live North Park Lounge, Richland Hilltop Event Center, X, YouTube, Facebook. Check us out on all the socials. That's Steel City Sunday. We'll have Todd Haley. We'll have Paul Zeiss. We've got Mike Oste. We got Bill Akins, myself, Jerry DePaula, a cast of others. There you go right there. Flood social media right now and get on all of that. And, we'll see what happens on Sunday. I still think it'll be a 40-40 tie. And I hope I have all the overs, and I hope I make $1 grillion with my gambling.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. All right, everybody. Hey, on a serious note, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family. Hope it's a safe Thanksgiving. Enjoy the family. Don't eat too much turkey. You know that tryptophan. It can make you a little sleepy. So, but enjoy the football too. That's some okay games, guys. Right? I think all right. I mean, it's okay. But enjoy that. Enjoy the time with your family, and we will talk to you next week.
See you later.